Good morning. Congratulations. Y'all get an A. Amen. Y'all get an A. You showed up on time. For all of you who showed up for Sunday school, A+. Amen. Good job. Good job. I didn't announce it last week. I said, man, I should have announced time change, but that's all right. I'm still trying to figure out how we actually save time. Humans, we try to save time. I don't understand how we do that. But anyway, time has changed. Thank you for being here this morning. I hope everyone has a bulletin, a couple of announcements I'll highlight that are in the bulletin, a couple of announcements I'll highlight that are in there. One is the GA Missions Fair is tonight. I'm going to invite you to please come out and support what's going on in our GAs. And the teachers always do a great job of teaching our young ladies missions and missions work that goes on all over the world. The missions fair, the girls will teach us something about each country that they've learned, and also have a little treat for us. So please come back for that tonight. It's at 6 o'clock. It's in place of our Sunday evening worship that we usually have in here. It will be next door in the fellowship hall. Also, our Men's Brotherhood Breakfast is next Sunday. It is Men's Brotherhood Breakfast, but we are inviting the whole church to come out. What I say? I said Sunday. I'm sorry. Please come next Sunday morning, though, as well. But we won't have breakfast for you. Just please come Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. We want to invite everyone to come out because our guest speaker is Sheriff Paul Smack, and he's going to just have a good word for us and what's going on, hopefully what's going on. Just him doing ministry as a sheriff, and also he's been to Israel, so maybe we'll hear some highlights about that. But everybody's invited. The meal is going to be wonderful. It's bacon and milk with no numbers. You have to show up for that. You have to show up for that. So please come next weekend, next Saturday at 7 o'clock. Also, I was just told that our Boston Butt sale is beginning. We're selling Boston Butts. We do this every year. I say we, you buy them. John Wilson, he fixes them, so we're very thankful for that. And they are really, really, really good. Ellen does a great job as well. And we need your help. Your part of this is you need to buy some Boston Butts. Amen. All the money that we raise for that goes to our youth going to camp and paying for a part of them their trip. The sign up for that is in the back in the vestibule on the piano side. I think they're $35 a Boston Butt, or we'll sell you 2 for $70. Amen. Good deal. So please sign up. Please buy a Boston Butt and support these students. The sale for those is March 29th and 30th. So you'll pick them up on the 30th. So mark that daily calendar. Sign up and buy a Boston Butt. Amen. Amen. Heavenly Father, we come to you today, and I thank you for this opportunity that we have to come and to gather. Lord, we gather in the name of Jesus, the name that is above all names. And Lord, you have blessed us with abundance. And Lord, for that we are truly, truly thankful. Lord, we ask you to bless this service. Bless the time that we have to study your word, to sing praises to you, to give of our tithes and our offering. Lord, we just ask you to bless this time the way only you can. And Lord, that when we leave this place, we will be different than we came, that we will be ready to share the gospel, to love others the way you have loved us. Lord, I pray for this service. I pray that you bless it. In Jesus' name I pray. And all God's people said, Amen.
Touched me. Amen. Woo. That don't get your ticker going on. Go look with it. Good morning. So glad that Team Piano, y'all got to step up the game. Team Morgan over here is getting you, all right? Don't worry, we'll be back for you next week. So glad to be in the house of the Lord this morning. A little bit of a programming change. I want to share with you. There was a dear sweet lady who was a very special person to me, Miss Doris McClintock, and she was I affectionately referred to her as my blue-haired old bat, and she loved it, and she got mad at me if I didn't call her that. But she and I would occasionally at church, when we were born, we would sing together, and her favorite song, and I'm going to change it up. I'm not going to do the Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think that God his Son not sparing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it. That on the cross my burden gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sin. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration, and there proclaim my God, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my soul, how great thou art. Next one is on the screen, How Deep the Father's Love Is. How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure, that He should give His only Son to make a wretch His treasure. How great the pain of searing loss. Father turns His face away, as wounds that mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man of His shores, all out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held Him there, until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished. I will not that deep, deep fatherly love in your service. You are truly awesome. And Father, we bow. God, we ask in this moment, in this time, you just enter this place in a mighty and special way to eternity, and help us to understand how to have your eyes, how to see with your lens, how to love with your arms, how to serve with your feet. God, help me to be more like you. Help us as a church to be more like you. God, as Brother Aiden comes, I just pray your special spirit-filled anointing over him right now. And as we enter this time of teaching and preaching and digging into your word, Father, reveal yourself to us, not so we can know you, but so that we can make you known. God, we love you. We thank you for the opportunity to serve. That's all we seek to ask in Christ's name.
You may be seated. And we'll go ahead and dismiss the children's church at this time. You can take your Bibles and turn to Mark, the book of Mark. We're going to be in chapter 9 and chapter 10. But it's marked in your Bible. Not physically Bible, voice. Mark chapter 9 and Mark chapter 10. And I didn't plan this, and I didn't know that Brother Mike was going to be changing the song on How Great Thou Art. My question to you this morning goes kind of along that same line. And let me ask you, do you want to be great? Do you want to be great? When I believe this, all of us want to be great at something. All of us want to be great at something. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be great at something. My first memory of wanting to be great at something was I wanted to be great at sports. It began with baseball. I wanted to be great at baseball. And I was a Sandlot kid, grew up in a big city. We always met in the park after school weekends, and I wanted to be great with other kids. I mean, this is what we did until the lights on the streets went on. That's when you had to be home. When the light came on, you had to be in the house, ready for dinner. And I wanted to be great at baseball. I did. And then my father allowed me to play football when I was in 5th grade. And I wanted to be great at football. And then I had to make grades, right? I wasn't great. I didn't want to be great at making grades. But I knew that the two kind of went together. I was taught early that you had to make the grades to play sports. And I remember, and this was just taught in our house, not through the school system, but just in our house. And in 5th grade, academics wasn't very important to me because I spent all my time in the sandlots and on the fields. And my kids still, I have one kid in here. I probably should have shared this story. My wife's like, oh boy, here we go. 5th grade, I almost failed 5th grade. I did. Teachers reached out to my 5th grade. And I was like, I'm not repeating a grade. I finally got out of 5th grade. I'm not going back. If you want to go to 6th grade, you have to repeat 5th grade. What was devastating to know that you have to go one more year of school. Sports was real important to me. And then something else came into my life that I wanted to be great at. See, I get to tell this story. My kids and my wife are going, really, you're telling them that again? This is my time, right? I wanted to be great at dancing. Break dancing came out, and I was like, man, I got those moves. And I was so into it. My my dad, he's like, man, I wanted you to be great at sports and, academics, just be good. But dancing, really? Yeah, Dad, I'm going to be great at dance. And I dedicated a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I broke these out again just because I can. I keep these in my office because Amy won't let me have it home. That one broke. I don't know who broke it, this little thing. And I bring two. See, I won these breakdances. They're first place. See, if I just won one, because I was good, I wanted to be great. The highlight of this was my dad's company. I mean, he was an executive vice president of a big, big company, and I always used to hang out with him at his job. Well, right next door to him, I really wanted to hang out with him. And I knocked on his door and said, I walked in and I said, hey, I got an idea. Let's do a commercial with me breakdancing. Oh yeah, I was selling it. I said, man, I'm going to have that loaf of bread here, and I'm going to moonwalk. I think I'm a moonwalker, don't you? No. Y'all aren't going to say the preacher was dancing on stage. I wanted to be great. My dad was so mad at me. But that's in us to be great. We want to be great. We want our kids to be great at something. It's normal to want to be great at something. And this changes. This changes. I want to be great today. But my life has changed. I'm 50 years old looking back. I want to be great at being a parent. I do. A preacher. I want to be great at being a pastor. I want to be great at my job. Just like we don't say that. We don't want to be average. I don't want to. I mean, you may say that, but it's not true. Because you want to be great at something. There's something in you that wants you, that just pushes you. You want to be great. You don't teach your kids. Oh, don't worry about being great. Just be average. Just be average. You want to be great. Let me ask you this. What about your spiritual life? Do you want to be great? Or do you just want to be average? Do you want to teach your kids to be great? Do you want to teach your grandkids to be great? Or do you just want to be average? Even in our spiritual life, I believe this. We want to be great. Now, as we look around, we know this is true. Society, not just society, us, parents, we invest so much time into our kids being great at something. We do. We invest so much time today. You know this. In sports, we invest so much time. And I'm guilty of this. Investing so much time, so much energy into our kids being great at sports. But it's not just sports. I know parents that spend an incredible amount of time, an incredible amount of effort for their kids to be great at academics. They push and they push and they push and take all kind of extra classes to be great at academics, and will settle for nothing less. Not just academics, other interests. It could be music interests. It could be art interests. I know parents that push and push and push their kids to be great at working and having a job. And it's more important than anything. They grew up in a home where they didn't have much money, so they teach their kids, hey, life is about making money and taking care of yourself. So they instill in them at a young age to be great at working and learning to make money. We teach this into our kids, but this is what we learn, because sometimes the idea of being great, it just leaks in and bleeds into our spiritual life. Because we can teach and we can model and we can live a life that we think being great is some sort of performance. Even in our spiritual life, that being a great Christian is some sort of performance. And we put those together, but Jesus teaches us what spiritual greatness is. Jesus, He teaches us that. He shows us what it looks like. Jesus actually tells us how to achieve spiritual greatness. Mark chapter 9, verse 33. Jesus is with the 12 disciples, and he's actually on his way to Jerusalem. He's actually on his way to the cross. Jesus is on his way, and he's in Capernaum. It says, then he came to Capernaum. And when he was in the house, he asked him, now he's with the 12. Look at this question. What was it you were disputing among yourselves on the road? Now, I love that. I'll just take a time out from the sermon. How would you like for Jesus to show up today and say, guys, y'all just gather around? And this is Jesus just sitting around. What y'all arguing about? What's the big deal? What you fighting over? What silliness are you disputing about? Isn't that us? We fight about crazy stuff. I've been in churches, they fought about the color of the paint on the wall. And when they painted it and it got up, it wasn't the color that was on the can. Greg can testify to this because that color changes sometimes with light and in big rooms. And it is, which I said, hey man, I like light blue. It looks good in here. But they disputed over the color. Come on, I can go down that road. Could you imagine if Jesus showed up and looked at us and said, guys, y'all get there. What are y'all fighting? What are you disputing? Is it really that big a deal? Well, he has them. They're on their journey, and they're walking, and Jesus hears the stuff. Guess what? Jesus hears us. He hears you. Listen. John. Lord John. What about Peter? Look at you. Always right beside us. Jesus hears you. We've sat with him. We hear people murmur, dispute, complain. Jesus hears us. What if he showed up here? Jesus hears the 12. He's in the home. He said, okay, boys. Y'all gather. What's going on? What are you disputing among yourselves? They acted like we would act. But they kept silent. I love that. Right? Because they knew we shouldn't be arguing about this. Shouldn't be disputing this. This has no kingdom relevance. I mean, this is kind of, you'll see that this is kind of about us. You know, they kept silent. For on the road, they had disputed among themselves who would be, here's our word, the greatest. Who would be the greatest? I wonder what their measuring stick was. I wonder what their measuring is. We do this in spiritual life, right? Let's, we measure greatness in the world. You know that. I don't even have to use those examples. We measure athletes. We measure the world standards of greatness and money and all those world. Let's just leave that outside for a minute. What about spiritual greatness? What's your measuring stick for someone who's spiritually great? Is it attendance? They showed up, taught Sunday school. What's spiritual greatness? What about churches? What are those great churches? When I talk to people, they ask, and then we start talking about church world and other churches. And when people start talking about churches and they're a great church, I wonder, what's the measuring stick for a great church? Building program, the music that they sing? Is that the measuring stick for a great church? How about the preacher? Dynamic preacher, awesome services and awesome deliverance of the message and the Word of God. What's greatness in the spiritual world? We're so guilty of this. I thought about this book right here because I'm so guilty of this. This is the book we get every year when we go to the Baldwin Baptist Associational meeting. And they're sitting on it, they give it because we walk into a bag, and I sit right to the bag. Great churches, the big churches, the ones that are drawing the crowds, and the ones who have that dynamic preacher, and the ones who have that music service that's just powerful, and everybody's going. So I go there and I start, it tells me their attendance this year, their average attendance, average Sunday school attendance, How many of the guys showing up for Vacation Bible School? How many are showing up as a pastor? I start, where do we sit with that? It tells me how much they give to the cooperative program, how much money that they're bringing in total. I get a report. And so I look at everybody's. I go to the back page, last page. You know why? We're Vernon Park Baptist Church. We're V. We're at the end. Where do we measure up to greatness? Where do we fit in with greatness? See, it leaks in from the world. It leaks right into the church. We've all wanted to be great. We have an idea of greatness, and we have a measuring stick for greatness. And it comes right into our church world. We use it all the time. Jesus says, that's not greatness. This is not the measuring stick for greatness. It's okay to be great. And I love this story because Jesus does not rebuke them. Be great. Because he was great. We're called to be great. It's okay to want to be great. Let me tell you, church, don't settle for average. There's a society that's teaching, hey, we all need to be the same, and we all need to be equal. It's a level playing field. Everybody's going to win, and nobody's going to get a trophy for first place. No. Greatness tries to achieve. Greatness tries to go. Greatness tries to get. It does, and that's in us. That's God's thumbprint on our life. We are called to be great. The deal is this. The kingdom has a different definition for greatness. The king of the kingdom gives us that definition. Jesus hears this, and he knows what they're disputing. In verse 35, it says, he sat down. I love this scene. He called the 12 and said to them, if anyone desires to be first, there's nothing wrong with that. You just got to know the truth. If anyone desires to be first, if you desire to be great, listen. If you desire to be first, you desire to be great, he shall be last of all. And we always say that. We stop right there, though. We stop short of the verse. Because we always say the first shall be last. And it's more than that. It's more than that. It's not just the first shall be last, but look what it says, and a servant to all. Will you do me a favor? Just look around the room. Just look to your left and to your right. That's who you call servant. Everyone. That which you do, if you desire to be a great follower of Christ, which I think you do if you're saved, you're called to look around and to completely, wholly serve all. Jesus says this is what greatness looks like. This is not what greatness looks like. Church attendance, baptisms, church buildings. That's not greatness. It's not bad, but it's not greatness. Greatness is serving all. Be a servant to all. Greatness is putting everybody first. And saying it's not about me. Putting not just some people, the ones I like, the ones that I get along with, the ones who we have the same spirit, we have a kindred spirit, or we have the same personality. No. I'm putting everybody first. Everybody's interest comes before mine. Everybody's wants come before mine. Everybody's needs come before mine. Everybody. Jesus said that is greatness. The disciples, I don't think they fully got this. And this is why, turn to Mark chapter and just turn the page, and they're still on their journey. They're on their way to Jerusalem, and Jesus, he's still teaching the disciples, and this is what's going on. Chapter 10, verse 32, he says, "Now they were on the road going to Jerusalem, and Jesus was going before them, and they were amazed. And as they followed, they were afraid. Then he took the 12 aside again and began to tell them the things that would happen to him." So he's preparing them for Jerusalem, and he's preparing them for the cross. This is really important. "Behold, we are going to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be betrayed to the chief priests and to the scribes. And they will condemn him to death and deliver him to the Gentiles. And they will mock him, they will scourge him, they will spit on him, and kill him, fellas. I'm going to die. But have hope. The third day, he will rise again." Now you would imagine if Jesus just taught us that, I'd have some questions. All this about Jesus. The next sentence, don't break that up, verse 35. Next verse, 35. "Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him, saying, 'Teacher, we want you to do something, do for us whatever we ask.'" Now, I love that. That sounds like my kids, right? I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I need you to go ahead and say yes before I ask it, right? That's what that sounds like. But I love that. These guys just heard the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And I have a lot of questions about that. But here we go. We have a question. And we want you to do whatever we ask. I'll do for you. Verse 37. "They said to him, 'Grant us that we may sit on your right hand and on your left in your glory, in your kingdom.'" Now their idea of a Messiah was he was going to be a great militant leader. Everything they read in the Old Testament, when the Messiah comes, he is going to rule the world. That he will have complete authority of this world. That the Messiah is going to come, and if he is going to sit on a kingdom and be king of the kingdom, then he's going to need some leadership around him. So we just want to ask you, can we sit in those seats? Can we sit on your left? Can we sit on your right? Can we be men of authority? Can we be men that rules and reigns with you? Because we desire and we want to be great. You're going to be great. We don't even understand it. You said something about dying, resurrection, whatever. But I know this. The Old Testament says you're going to have a kingdom. You're going to need some leadership. We desire to be great. Can we sit on your left? Can we sit on your right? Jesus said to them, verse 38, "You don't know what you ask." Well, I've heard that from him 1,000 times. You don't know what you ask. Are you baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized in? Then they said to him, listen, this is what they said, this is their answer. "We are able." "You think so?" Jesus said to them, You will indeed drink the cup that I drink. And they did. They died to death. "And with the baptism I'm baptized, you will be baptized. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it is prepared." Meaning that's the will of the Father. That is the will. We went through that in the last sermon series. That's the will of God. And Jesus would say, I'm under his complete authority. Whatever he says, we'll do. Whatever he tells me to say, I'll say. Whatever he tells me to do, I'll do. Wherever he tells me to go, I'll go. And I advise you to do the same. So it is not mine to give. I'm under to be greatly displeased with James and John. Do you know why? They wanted to be great too, amen? Well, they beat me to it. They're talking to Jesus about the right and the left, and we kind of thought we would be able to get him and talk to him, and we were making our move. We were going to manipulate him our own way. We had a plan. We had a strategy for that. They wanted to be great. But Jesus called them to himself again. This is again. He's walking down the rulers over the Gentiles. They lord it over you. and their great ones exercise authority over them. Now, Jesus is teaching us a great lesson about worldly greatness. Worldly greatness is exercised with authority. Did y'all hear that? Worldly greatness is exercised with authority. Look at people of greatness, or the world would consider people of greatness. Those are great, but then he says, yet it is not so among you. That is not what greatness looks like in his kingdom. That is not what whoever desires to be, you shall be a servant. See, you're not going to be great because of your title. You're not. You're not going to be great because of your position. You're not going to be great because you're the boss. You're not going to be great because you have a title of dad. You're not going to be great because you have the title of mom. You're not going to be great because you have the title of grandma, grandfather. You're not going to be great because you have the title of deacon. You're not going to be great because you have a title and a position of a Sunday school teacher. Reverend. Titles don't make you great. Greatness, buddy first. Everybody. That is greatness. Verse 44. And whoever of you desires to be first, listen, shall be not just a slave, not a servant. Look what it says. I'm nobody's slave. Jesus said, do you desire to be great? Do you desire to be great? Greatness is putting everybody first. And not only that, greatness is being a slave to all. Whatever they need. Whatever they need. Whatever need they have. You have to meet. You have to be there. You have to serve them as a slave. If you desire to be great. See, our purpose is to serve. Listen, gee, this is hard teaching. This is hard. It's hard I walk around with this, and greatness is about the numbers. I'm a Christian. They're walking with Christ over 20 years, 25 years. And greatness is about the numbers, and Christ is still teaching me. No, it's not. Greatness isn't how many people are on that pew. Greatness is not how many people went into that baptism. Greatness, that's not greatness. Greatness, Andy, is, are you willing to put everybody before you? Jesus taught that, and it's incredibly hard teaching. But better than that, Jesus didn't just teach it. Church, he modeled it. Amen? He modeled this. Jesus still on his way to Jerusalem, and he's teaching these guys along the way. Guys, this is what greatness is all about. This is what it looks like. To be great is not just sitting on my right and sitting on my left and having positions and titles and having some sort of authority. That is not greatness. Greatness is putting everybody before you. So Jesus is sitting with them, having his last supper with them. And he came to Simon Peter, and Peter said, Lord, you washing my feet? And Jesus answered and said to him, what I am doing, you do not understand, but you will after this. And Peter said to him, you shall never wash my feet. Jesus answered and said, if I do not wash you, you have no part of me. Think about that. If you're not willing to wash, if you're not willing to serve Peter, you don't have any part of me. Jesus concludes this whole teaching. He says, so, about performance, it's not It's not about positions. It's not about titles. Bring it in. Let me tell you one more time. You call me teacher, and you say, well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and your teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to walk an example that you should do as I have done to you. He who sent greater than he who sent him. If you know these things, listen, blessed are you if you do them. Jesus said, He taught what greatness was. Not on the knee, He said, I'm here to serve you. I'm here, look, I'm here to be your slave. I'm taking the position of you first. If you want to be great, you do. Do you know what our problem is as churches? This is my problem. Church. When we hear stories of great leaders who did things in service. See, greatness is when you bend that knee, when you pick up that towel, you wash it. That's what greatness looks like. Is that appealing? I get you fired up, want to run out of here, start washing feet. Do you know that's awesome? Look what they did. You wanted to announce, look what I did. I went, prayed for it, took something, I went and, you want recognition. As Christians, we want recognition. This model of greatness, there's no recognition. There's none. You get to the end of your life, this is the recognition. You breathe that last breath, as Mike just sang about, talked about, how great thou art. Right? When you get to heaven, this is the recognition. God looks at you. That is the model. There's no recognition, church. There's no recognition this side of it. It's just getting up. Saying, God, I trust you. God, I follow you. I want to model greatness. Then it goes to my job, and then it goes to my community, and all along the way, I'm bowing that knee. It's hard, and sometimes, you want to just get some, I wish they just appreciate what I'm doing. And you'll battle that. You will. No, you just keep going. You get up, you keep going, you keep serving, because that's what greatness looks like. In the kingdom of God, that's what Jesus modeled as greatness. So let me ask you, are you living this way? Well, that's challenging, amen? Not are you just living this. Are you teaching it? See, I teach my kids, y'all to be great at things. And what greatness in the kingdom looks like. And living that out every day. So today, Samuel, I want you to be a slave to John Wilson. That's hard. But that's why it's called great. Greatness is our will, your will. His will for you is to get up and to be a slave, to serve. And it is hard. It is tough. It is a daily. This is where I hear greatness the most. When people are great. You know where I hear it? Just this last week. You know where I hear greatness? At funerals. When I go to funerals, this is where I hear greatness. Because I don't hear just, how much money they make. I don't. They're great at making money. I don't care how great they were fixing banana pudding. I don't. I don't hear how great they were at their particular job. When families get up and give the eulogy, greatness is how they loved me. Greatness is how they treated me. Greatness was, their love was unconditional. Even when I was a reflection of Christ in their life. When I hear greatness at a funeral, it's the reflection of Christ in their life. When they died to themselves and they put everybody else before them. That's where I hear how great they are. So let me ask you. Well, I thought about this week. What are they going to say to your food? What are they going to say? You're a good cook? What are they going to say to your food? Do you love? Is it going to be a reflection of Christ that you serve? That you put everybody else before you? That you were Christ-like? What are they going to say? Sure. You're called to be good. You're called to be good. My hope as a pastor is that people do say we're a great church. I really do. And I know it's not going to be because of a report. It's not going to be because of an accolade. I want people to say we're great because we reflect Christ in our community. We serve, we put up first. Everybody. We learn to serve, we wash feet. We're called. Manipulated and twisted and turned. Maybe you're teaching greatness the wrong way to your family and friends. Maybe we just need to turn. I know for me, this is a daily repentance. Daily. Especially when reports are coming out. And I know other pastors are looking at Burnett Park. Maybe we just need to turn to the Lord and say, I just want to be great. I want to get to heaven and you look at me and say, that was great. Where does that mean? Where does that mean? Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus. I thank you. I thank you for the truth of Scripture. I thank you for the truth of your life and the things that you taught. And Lord, you didn't just teach them. Lord, you modeled. Lord, you were great. You were great. Because you were a servant to all. Lord, that goes beyond the problem, the death, burial, and resurrection. Lord, you were great because of why you did it. Lord, you did it for everyone else. You put everybody else before you. And Lord, you have called us to do the same. You said you were an example, and we ought to follow. Lord, I struggle with this. I struggle with this daily. I need your help. I need, by the power of the Holy Spirit, you to intervene in my life daily and remind me of what you define as greatness. And Lord, I just pray for those who are here that struggle with the same thing. Who are trying to perform in all areas of their life. Thinking those first. Lord, it starts with our family. Lord, not just saying it, but modeling it and teaching it to our children and grandchildren. Lord, I pray for all of us who are here today who heard this message. Lord, how comforting it is knowing that you have defined greatness, not this word, buried deep in our hearts, that we may not sin against you. In Jesus' name. Brother Mike. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee, oh, blessing of my Savior, I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Stay thou near my temptation. said, amen. Thank y'all for coming this morning and being a part of worship. It was good to see everybody here. Just a reminder tonight, please come back for our GA's missions fair. It'll be in the fellowship hall beginning at 6 o'clock. I promise you'll be blessed. You will be blessed. If you haven't signed up for the men's breakfast for next Saturday morning, you can do so still today. This will be the last opportunity you have to sign up. Amen, Brother Roy? Amen. And also, if you want to go ahead and sign up for a Boston Butt, we won't collect money for that today, but we will, I guess, starting next week. But you can sign up so we can start getting a good count of how many Boston Butts we're going to need to get. Amen? Thank you all for joining us again. Even the disciples